Hey, this is the Fof with the Fof Guide. This time I talk with Nicholas. He is a building designer. He's going to talk about his education, his influences, and how he likes his job. Have yourself a great day, guys. Enjoy the show. Hey, Nicholas, thank you very much for being on my show. I appreciate that, buddy.
No problem, Jamie. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, buddy. How you doing? You doing all right? Just
Yeah,
relaxing, and having a chill day.
reasonably, yes.
Yeah. So, what's your educational background after high school? Just the synopsis, kind of what you've done.
Okay. Well, that's a lot. And it all depends on your perspective. I've taken ad hoc courses as well as programs.
What's an ad hoc course?
Ad hoc courses where you're taking individual courses just for the purpose of increasing your knowledge base.
Hmm.
Yeah, just like or professional development courses, that kind of thing. But I also did some college, some university. I've been back to college a couple of times and university once. Yeah.
What would you take? What kind of degrees or diplomas did you get on there? If you don't want me asking, just curious.
No, that's fine. Well, way back in the day, I went to college. I originally went in for the 2D animation program. However, I was working in 2D animation at the time. Well, the firm also did 3D, but I was working in 2D. Anyways, the program got canceled, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I guess they didn't have enough people sign up for it. Everybody was signing up for 3D. So I took 3D while I was waiting for the 2D program to come back.
That's what I meant.
And
You did an animation.
yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
did.
That's how you met me. So taking the 3D program. So I finished that. Then I went off and did a bunch of other things. I actually went through some burnout from too many hours, and did a bunch of different things. Then ended up working in banking for a while and took a whole pile of professional development courses there. Went to university for project management. Did a whole program on that, which is a bit of a long story. Then I did a career change a couple of years later. I went back into building design. And so then I took a whole pile of ad hoc professional development courses
Yeah.
just to upgrade my skills on that front. Went back to college, took a bunch of them through the Home Builders Association, took a bunch of them through a private security firm who teaches a little known uh, practice called crime prevention through environmental design, or CEPTED, as the acronym is. Yeah, and but yeah, I keep going back. Oh, I also took Passive House courses and a lot of high performance building design courses so that I could do sustainable homes. It's just been a lot. So and Revit courses and yeah, you name it.
What was
So
that course you didn't take? What was that? What was that? What was that degree you didn't finish?
oh
Because I'm going to bug you about that for a little bit because I'm just curious.
no, that's fair. So that was the project management program. So I went and did an intensive program where I finished a lot of credits in a span of 3 months, and then I had to take three additional elective core, or well, I had to choose one of three, I should say, different elective specializations to get my certificate. At the end of it, I chose business analysis as my specialization in project management, and I didn't realize that there was three courses in the specialization. All the other specializations had only two courses, and I wasn't paying attention. So I did the first course, I did the second course. I was like, "Yay, everything's great, done." Uh, and then I moved on. And it wasn't till years and years later when I came back and I was like, "Oh, I need to get a copy of my diploma, blah blah blah." Which I was like, yeah, I never got a copy. I should get a copy. And I contacted the university and they're like, uh, sorry, you actually missed one class. Do you want to come back and get it? And at the time, I was running my own design firm, um, and my partner, she said, "You don't need it. It's not relevant for what you do. You're not actually being a project manager, which I agree.
Mhm.
I'm not doing the full project management, although I do know quite a bit. And I wasn't going to go for the professional project management professional um, stamp,
Mhm.
or PMP is
Yeah.
the stamp. So the one course didn't matter, but there's a part of me that's like, I should really go back and do it. I should contact the university and make sure that, they're going to be okay with it and everything else. So, anyways,
You can make a phone call tonight, right? Or tomorrow morning.
I could, among all the other things I've got to do, yes, I suppose I could. It's not a critical thing in my life
You
right
might need it for a resume one day.
That is true.
I
I
know it's a
should.
piece of paper, but it looks pretty good on your wall, right?
Yeah, well, I suppose I can't actually argue that. I've got my resume is very long. I actually have to keep trimming it because as I was always told, keep your resume to 2 pages if you can, and mine's 4.5 or 5. So I tend
Yeah.
to cut things out of it a lot.
But you
So
gotta cherry pick the ones that are appropriate to the actual
yeah, of course.
job you want.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's what I would do too.
in
But
in
yeah,
most cases these days, it's not the job I want. That my resume is generally being passed around. Um, it's not because I do a lot of consulting now, as you're aware,
yeah,
and my resume is going into insurance packages because I need X amount of insurance for whatever consultation or
yeah,
otherwise.
yeah.
It's more being rounding out a package for something else. It's not because I'm applying for a job anymore. But anyways, sorry, I'm
But yeah,
going off on tangents.
yeah, that's cool. So, I guess what was your major and minor? Did you do any minor, majors and minors, or is it just a bunch of little
Well,
courses and
that
all that?
um I well, so besides the computer animation where, um the programs changed during, but I went in for what was supposed to be 2D animation and came out with 3D animation, a couple of levels of certificates in that.
Pretty cool.
Um, when I went to UBC for project management, like I said, it was the um, I wouldn't call it a minor and a major. I
Just some kind of discipline, right?
Well, yeah, yeah, project management professional. So I get it. I think that would qualify as a major, but I'm not sure how it works out. It's the Sauder School of Business, right? So they have their own system set up, and it's all for professional development, right? So that was 3 month intensive, and then an additional 6 months of specialization, right?
Mhm.
But the 3 month intensive covered, I think we did 164 hours of courses in 3 months. It was intense. Um,
Yeah. I don't
so
think I've ever really took some intense courses before in my life. I don't wanna.
it,
I don't want to
it,
sit there for like 24/7 studying.
well, yeah, yeah, it was on average
I take one or two courses a semester. That's good for me.
it was about
I was at a full-time job, right? And I had
yeah,
mortgage, and I was like going one or 2 days a week, which is fine.
yeah,
But it depends on who you are, and if you're smart enough to be do it, it's all good, right? Yeah.
no, 100%. Um, yeah, it was 15 or 16 hours of courses a week, and then another between 24 and 34 hours worth of homework every week as well, homework and studying. So, plus I was working full time at that
That
point.
doesn't
So,
sound like lots of fun, dude.
uh, it wasn't horrible. I didn't enjoy, how can I phrase this? I enjoyed everything I learned. I didn't enjoy
Yeah.
the team I was assigned. It was
Okay.
we had a team project, and it was not a good set of team members. So,
Yeah, well, I remember my buddy put on Facebook, rule number one of group projects, trust no one.
pretty much.
Which,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people that just kind of slide in and kind of go, yeah, I
Oh
did.
yeah, no, no.
And then and you have to
I
give it to them because you feel bad for them. Like, well, but I also did another, when I did my show with Kevin Hamilton, he said basically, there's some people just admit to it, say, like he confronts me, say, yeah, I gotta admit, I was social loafing, right? And it does
Yeah.
happen sometimes. And I try to be equal member, and sometimes a little bit more, depending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand. I yeah, like I said, it wasn't a good experience for me. I did a lot of work and um my grades started out great, and then people would rewrite my work and submit it or as a team project. And yeah, very great. It was not a fun environment. That being said, though, I learned a lot. I really pushed myself. I came out the other side far more professional. Um, and I really enjoyed it. So
It was enriching, was it? Would you say?
overall, like I said, the team experience wasn't, the rest was. I've taken everything I learned in that program and I've applied it to almost every day of my life. So I can't say that I did not get my full rewards out of that program, if that makes sense.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. So, what kind of jobs have you done and what things do you do for challenging yourself? Like, is it all just design or has it been different kinds of jobs that worked up your way up there with your education and your know-how or
Yeah, so to speak. I've had a lot of jobs, a lot of different careers, just depending on how you're looking at it. How far back do you want me to go, and where do you want me to start answering that? Because that goes a long way.
whatever is applies to the last job you had.
Oh, to the last job?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, okay, so I'm a building designer and consultant, right? On building design specifically, bylaws, government relations, that kind of thing, right? And so if you're looking at it from that point of view, I've been doing that now for 11 years. Um, yeah,
okay,
give or take.
a
Yeah,
little while, a little
but for
while.
11 years. And I haven't taken a specific program for building design. It's mostly just been filling in additional skill sets I wanted. So passive house, going in and learning how to design buildings that are healthier and basically enhance the lives of the people who live in them, and quite likely increase the lifespans of the people that live in them. I've
Interesting.
taken,
That's
sorry,
really interesting stuff, like maybe we should talk aside some other time one time when we got a lot of time,
sure.
but that was interesting stuff, just creating,
Yeah, well, there's ways to whether to build a building this way or to renovate a building, so that, you know, people's life expectancies are anticipated to increase. And it could be anywhere from 5 to 30 or even 40%, right? That you could increase someone's life expectancy. Now, there are other factors. You could get hit by a car, get sick. You know what? We'll talk about that on another one. Anyways, but so there was that. There's the crime prevention through environmental design. So that one is designing how to design the site and the building in a way that people don't want to commit crimes near it. And there's a whole
you
pile of
mean
other.
like cages? Cages
No,
or fences?
actually make it so that there's nowhere to hide.
Okay.
Well, okay, nowhere to hide is a little
Yeah.
harsh. Um,
No,
but you make it so it's hard to hide. You make it so that
there's
people are visible, and
open spaces, right? Big open spaces.
open spaces help, but it's more keeping very few high things to block lines of sight. So high hedges are bad. Trees are okay, but only if you can remove some of the lower limbs, for
Yep.
example, of the tree, so that you can see into under the tree, so people can't hide there. There's ways to make it so that when people move around your property, other people can hear them. So your neighbors would, hey, that sounds weird. Somebody's making this sound, and they're going to want to look out their window. So there's nowhere for,
Yeah.
um, and I can't remember the official term for it, but an undesirable actor, basically, um, or undesired activities are going to be noticed, right? So that your neighbors, the people across the street, the people next door, they look over, they see it, and then, hey, that doesn't look right. And either they're calling the police or they're calling out the window, but that undesirable actor is going to move and try and avoid it. Or they're going to recognize that they're going to get caught and they're going to leave before somebody sees them, right? And there's other things you can do too. But anyway, so they're crime prevention through environmental design or CPTED.
Was that
Um,
was that an actual course on just that one
yep, yeah,
subject?
I was in
Okay.
that course with a bunch of police, with a bunch of city officials. The second course in it, there was actually a few other architects and building designers. I think there was two or three others. But the first program I was in, it was just me, a whole pile of RCMP and police officers and city officials because a lot of them are required to know this,
Mhm.
right? So what do you approve and not approve, and how do you change things to make it better? So, anyways, go on.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. Any other courses that you really liked that you said, "Hey, I would do that again," or
Oh
is it more
yeah.
like I got them done and that's it? Like a lot, like what kind
Well,
of like 5, 10 courses or two couple courses
God,
or
I've
whatever,
taken
or
so
diplomas?
just for this in the last 11 years, I've probably taken 70 or 100 courses, right? So
Was it like a it was like MOOC or something like that, or
sorry, what
MOOC
do you?
is kind of like a free course we could take it, but or is it
No, no,
something
no,
you
no.
pay for it?
I know I paid for almost all of these courses,
Yeah,
and I paid like decent money for most of them.
yeah,
Um, but I was taking usually 8 to 10 courses a year, so it was like not a small amount of courses. The last couple of years, it's been a little bit less. I've only taken a few courses in the last couple of years,
yeah,
but there was a whole pile with regard to building envelope, which is um, the envelope of a building, as they call it, is the outside structure of the building. So the roof, the walls, and underneath the foundation is basically the sweater that goes around a building.
yeah.
And it's how to keep moisture out, how to keep mold out, how to
Yep.
make it more comfortable and healthier. Because one of the things that shortens people's lifespans is black mold and white mold, especially if you leave black mold long enough, it mutates into, or evolves, I guess is the correct term, into white mold, which is very bad for you. But black mold gives asthma, and white mold gives a lot more respiratory ailments. So it's a huge thing. I think the government was saying they expect it's about $3 billion a year of medical bills is from respiratory. So I spent a lot of courses on that. The guy who was teaching it, Hamid,
Do you get graded on the course, or you just take the courses, or do you do online
no,
stuff?
most of the professional development courses, most, not all,
Okay.
but most of them you don't get graded on. It is you're there, you're learning as a professional. It is assumed that so there's what are called career. Well, there's different terms depending
So
on.
like a career enhancement, like to improve
Yeah, well,
on
there's
what you've already
CPD
learned.
points. Yeah, their career. Oh God, why can't CPD? Why can't I remember what the P stands for? But CPD or career
Planning.
professional development or something. I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember what the
Yep.
acronym, but CPD points. And for a lot of professionals, they're required to maintain your professional credentials. Now, I don't have any professional credentials. I never got the PMP, so I don't have that one, and I never.
How do you build your resume then?
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, how do you say, hey, like without actual degrees and stuff like that? How do you say, hey, I got this, or like, sorry,
I don't need to. If most of the people that are coming to work with me know who I am, and as some of them have pointed out, like my name is given out a lot. I'm considered a specialist within the industry. I advise certain municipalities. I advise certain provinces. I advise certain, well, and our federal government. And so um, I'm in a weird place where if you know who I am, then you know what I know and I will
yeah,
sit down and talk with you about it.
okay.
I don't hand out a resume. So like literally I said like I have to put one together because I have to redo my insurance package. And it was like, wow, I haven't touched my resume and I don't
A
know
long
how long.
time. Since
Um,
2002. Hey, I think I should update
it's
that.
not quite that bad, but it has been at least 3 or so years since I've looked at it, and so now I've got to go redo it. Um, but uh, but yeah, so it's one of those things like I should actually get credentials. So I'm a building designer, but I'm a non-certified building designer. There
How to
are
get certified? Is it just that one course, or is it something else?
Oh no, no. Well, there's one course that I have to take for that through college through BCIT. Um, and but then I have to go through the professional organization is the ASTTBC, or Applied Science Technology and Technologists of British Columbia, which is it's a local chapter of a national organization.
Mhm.
And I would have to go through them. It's 6 months to a year for the certification. I have to design a few brand new buildings to current code, submit it to them, have it reviewed like it's a master's thesis, basically. And I go through, and I don't know if you know much about that, but basically, I then have to defend my projects, talk about why I did them, which way, how they met with all the
Yeah.
code requirements, and so forth, right?
I went to defense once, but not for what you're doing. But I went to like I think it was like some kind of lipid kind of
Hmm.
bodies, something like that. But anyways, one thing I learned about those, is sorry to interrupt, but one thing I learned about going to a if you're gonna look one, go attend one and
Yeah.
go there and see what it's like. Don't go to the washroom because if you do, you can't get back.
Oh, wow.
You can't go back in. No, this is like it was a PhD thesis.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you go to the washroom, like you can't go back in. It's like cheating if you come back in, I guess.
Hmm.
I think it has something to do with that, I think, but you can't leave. If you do
Huh.
leave, you're not going back in there and you're gonna miss it.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
don't go to the
I,
washroom. Go to the
I,
washroom well before you go. Don't drink
I,
too much before you
I
go.
I suspect the STTBC wouldn't do that, just
Well, I
because.
mean, I think for the person who's doing the actual PhD defense,
Yeah.
probably knows this and gets prepared, doesn't drink that much or eat that much.
Yeah,
I
that
mean, which is a
would
bad
make
thing in
sense.
the morning, but
Yep.
yeah, I just hopefully I really missed out though. I really wish I would have went to the rest of it, but I couldn't. So I just fell
Okay.
asleep in the chair and let my friend just enjoy
Finish
the
up.
rest of it.
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead. What were we saying again? Sorry.
No, no,
The
it's okay.
defense on the defense building defense or whatever.
Well, yeah, so you have to go through a master's thesis level defense of your two projects. And my former partner, when my last firm, I'm currently in the process of opening a new firm, but my former partner in my old firm, I had helped her put hers together, and it was a bit of work. And so at the end of it, I was just like, okay, well, that's great. And she was like, listen, I've got my certificate. You don't need to get yours. Now we're no longer working together, and I'm opening my own firm. So yeah, I
Yeah.
have to
So
get
you
it.
got to get
So
educated.
ah, it's only one course. I've taken, like, the funny thing is I only need, technically, I need the credit. There's two versions of the course. I took the residential version.
Mhm.
The version I need to
Is
get
the actual commercial
is
buildings and
is
stuff?
the commercial one, yeah.
Yeah.
The difference is, from what I gather, 1 hour of material is difference between the two courses. But legally, I have to get the commercial course if I want to get my building designers one.
Mhm.
So, but whatever, I can do it. It's not a big deal. Um, I just
What's the difference between you being an architect and being a what
building
you said?
designer.
Yeah, what's the difference between just so people who
Oh,
are
of
listening to
course.
this first don't know, what exactly is the difference? Aside from obviously lots more schooling, like lots.
Well, yeah. So 2 years of school versus 4 years of school. So 2 years of school for a building designer, 4 years of school for an architect. Um, an architect, so a building designer, once they graduate, can then immediately apply to be certified. And they can go through that if they think they're up to it,
Mhm.
because you have to design two houses.
Yeah.
and they have to meet all current code requirements and everything else, and they're reviewed by other industry professionals.
Yeah.
Whereas with an architect, you then have to go and do a minimum, I believe, I could be wrong on the amounts, so just want to preface this,
Yeah.
but I believe it's 2,000 hours. It's either 2,000 or 4,000 hours. I can't remember, of work under another architect. And it has to, I believe there's three main fields, like three different things. You have to do conceptual design. You have to if I remember correctly, and I'm not an architect, so I may not be accurate, I'm just prefacing this. You have to consult with clients and municipalities, and then you also have to do site visits. And I don't
Yeah.
know what the breakdown is of how much you have to do of each, but it can take years because
Oh yeah, you
I
bet.
I have seen cases where the intern architect gets and they still once they graduate they still have to defend their thesis and everything else, but then they become an intern and um they might not get enough hours in one category, so it takes longer until they get enough hours to actually meet the requirements and so on, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, so it's a different field. Now the difference is, and there's a few differences. So architects can work on any project they want, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't matter. So there's, well, correction, any project that falls within either part three of the building code or part nine of the building code, which is effectively every project. And the reason I mention that is that part three is large buildings and very complicated buildings. Part nine are smaller, three-story, one basement buildings that are simpler, and there's quite a few other caveats.
Oh,
But that is,
residential.
well, no, you can do a strip mall. But um, and I need to once again, there's caveats here. In BC, I can only do a strip mall with 4 units in it, right? Or a small commercial office building but
Yeah.
it can only have 4 units in it.
Mhm.
If I was to work in Alberta or anywhere else in Canada, I could do a strip mall or a small office building that has 20 units in it, but I have to have a separate firewall separation that for every 4 units, right? So you could have 2 floors, let's say 2 units, one firewall, then next to it another 2 floors with 2 units each. So there's another four, and then another firewall, and so on until you get to 20 units.
Sounds like sounds like a little bit of work, but
Well, no, yeah, but it. It's not that hard, right? It's
yeah.
whether I mean, there's a lot of different options of firewalls that you can choose from. And then you just have to put fire rated doors. I'm sure you've been in those small office buildings where you walk down and all of a sudden you've got a fire rated door. You're like, oh, I just passed a certain number of units. Then you open a fire rated door and you keep walking down the hallway. Or you've seen those old apartment buildings that do the same thing, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's just that kind of concept. But that being said, I've done houses that are 12,000 square feet, and 14. I think the largest was either 12 or 14,000 square feet. Like it's not like they're small houses that I'm talking about. It's just
Yeah.
I'm happy working within large houses or small commercial buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
if
your
that
niche,
makes
right?
sense.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
got you.
well,
Would you ever get an architect's kind of deal or
I've
thinking about it or
yeah, I've thought about it, and I've
well, it's quite an expansion. It's a lot of work again. Like
well,
yeah.
yeah, I could go take whatever the necessary courses that I could challenge. I've got, I believe I've got the full 15 years of work history that they require that I could just
Yeah.
go challenge it.
Okay.
But I don't know if I want to or need to. There's moments when I really like to, but there's moments when I'm happy, just
With
consulting
what
with
you're doing.
people.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I'm happy I'm not going to school. Just take a couple courses here and there. But
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, like there is that. That's not what I was getting at.
oh, fair enough. Okay.
What I'm getting at is that working on smaller projects, I mean, like dollar values, they're still large projects. They're just not tower scale large projects, right?
Yeah.
Like I was working with an architecture firm a few months ago, and we are working on a potentially like 30 or $35 million um project I'm not going to get into the details
That's
of,
fine. That's fine.
but it was good. I came up with some great ideas. I think everything would have worked. I enjoyed it, but it was a lot of work involved, and there was going to be several more years involved. And now, that being said, I am very good at talking to municipalities and different government bodies, right? And
Yep.
figuring out
You're
what
getting used to it. Yep. You're
yeah,
getting
what the
used to your
requirements
area,
are, who to talk to, how to
what
get
to
everything
do.
lined up so that it goes as smoothly as possible. So it
Mhm.
might
Yeah.
it might have only been 2 years, right, to get everything done, but it could have been 4 or 5.
Even though,
Uh,
yeah.
and I, in all honesty, I like my projects to be done within a year, right?
Yeah, can you
So
imagine that sitting there for 3 years like on the same building? Oh my God. And that's
yeah,
probably what happens, right? We're in a big building like that.
oh,
You
yeah,
can
yeah,
sit there for years
yeah,
just saying, okay, make sure that all the electrical's here. This is the, oh,
yeah, four or
man,
five
that's
years.
that's a
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you'd be
I've
like, I don't want to see this building ever again. You
yep.
know what?
Well, you've gotten to know
You
every
get
single
sick of it.
person. Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, you make good friends, you get to know people, you get to learn a lot, right? So, um, yeah, it's all perspective. So,
What would you tell people who are thinking of getting into post-secondary school when I do what you're doing?
oh,
What would you tell them? Like, because the audience could be people like that, and
yeah. Well, okay. Um, if it's specifically with regard to doing what I do or what I want to do, um, first step, you know what, yeah, if I'm going to just say it, the first thing is actually go and take either hands-on construction courses so you know how things are built, or
like
uh,
how to build stairs and stuff like that, and just how to build
yeah,
a wall.
like you've learned how
Just
to frame a
BCIT
wall.
kind of stuff, like technical institute
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
I
Yeah, okay,
I would definitely
okay,
go to a technical school, not a vocational school. I would go to a technical school.
yeah.
I
Well,
want to
you,
be, yeah,
yeah, I got you. And what you could also do is work for Labor Unlimited or something like that, or whatever, and you could do construction once
yeah,
in a while. It's not the greatest, but at least you get like experience of seeing how guys do things and how
yeah.
red tape there is every time. But I mean,
You're
it's not
not
the
going to learn.
greatest, but
Yeah, you're not going to learn a ton that way
yeah,
through Labor Unlimited because you're going to get assigned general laborer tasks.
yeah, pretty
It'd be better
much.
to work for a small builder
Yeah,
and come in and just learn at least the low level ropes, right? So you understand a bit about how things are built
yeah.
because the amount I've had so many interns and so many um, interviewees with my old firm, right? We used to interview roughly between 50 and 100 people every year. I used to have probably 10 or 15 interns coming through every year. And or I shouldn't say interns, people doing their practicums for school, because technically they weren't interns. Um, but anyways, the amount of people that didn't have a single clue, like they would draw things but not know what they were and what they meant, right?
Yeah.
And you need to know how things are put together before you put
Like how a
that.
wall goes up if it's over
Yeah.
10 feet tall, you got to do something with it or stuff like
Well,
that, or
there is that side
joist
of
and
it,
all that.
but there's also like,
Planning.
well, yeah, but I mean, you put it's not as simple as, well, I put up the line saying, hey, we've got a wall and there's a sheet of plywood and
You
there's
got
a
to see what the materials
like you've got to
are,
actually know
how
like
how
what
how wide it is, and what's the
yeah, like
insulation going to be like,
are you
and all the materials and everything. Yeah, I got you.
are you doing half-inch drywall, or are you going to have a secondary suite in that building and you need 5/8 drywall? Are you
Yeah,
doing a half-inch sheathing, 3/4 inch sheathing? Like, are you doing the minimum 3/8 inch thick rain screen, or are you doing standardized, because this is very common in the industry, doing 3/4 inch rain screen strips that give you an air gap from the outside of your building so that if any water ever gets behind your siding, it can run straight out. building code says minimum is 3/8 of an inch, but standard in the industry is use 3/4 inch strapping because it's the cheapest strapping you can get on the market, right? Like 3/8 is more expensive than 3/4. So
Same.
everybody just uses three
Yeah.
quarters. You just got to know, right? But the reason that matters is when you start laying out your rooms and you're like, the outside of my building can only be here from this line. That's it. So I got to work inwards. Then your room gets smaller if you're off on your measurements. I
Yeah.
uh, was just working on a project where, from what I can figure out, they were off by 6 inches. So,
That's a lot. That's a lot of room that you just wasted. I would
yeah,
say
well,
wasted, but the all room that should have been.
yeah, well, if you go all the way around the perimeter, that's actually 12 inches off the interior thickness of the building.
And for a
Eh,
bedroom, that'd be terrible, horrible trying to fit a bed in there. Would
yeah,
I'm not.
well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On what was supposed to be a 10 foot, I can't remember, it was 10 foot by something room, became a 9 foot 6 or 9 foot 7. But and you're just like, that's a little more crowded. So it's just something to think about, right? Is you have to know what things are built out of. So my first suggestion to anyone trying to get into this industry, whether you want to become a building designer or an architect, um, go take some technical courses. Take those first before
I
you do it.
whereabouts do you do this again? Is it a technical institutes and stuff? Like, what kind of courses are they like? Like
Well, there's a few different ones. Okay, you know what? So I'll use some names. I'm not technically endorsing, I'm just giving examples of courses you could take because I've only taken one of these. I've sat in on one of them or two of them.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I've audited one or two.
You can just
Uh,
tell the technical institute did this. You don't have to say the names, right? That's fine.
Okay, well, fair
Whatever
enough.
works. Whatever.
So
Yeah,
then,
if you're more
at a
comfortable with that.
technical institute, I would look at taking the inspectors program, or home inspectors program or whatever they call it. And you don't have to go the full thing because normally the program goes all the way for intro history of how buildings are built, all the way to full building inspector level, right? Like there's
Interesting.
like the one I
That's
took,
a
there
good
was
first
six.
step then.
Yeah, there was 6 courses. I took the intro to history. That's all I wanted to know was just and I learned so much, and it was amazing. Like how everything has been built in BC specifically for
Mhm.
the last hundred and something years, right?
Interesting.
And like all the different techniques. And now I can identify buildings. I walk in, I'm like, oh, this is built this way. They use this. That's plaster and lath. It's probably this thick. They, and I can go through and label out everything.
Interesting.
You not likely to have any asbestos here, but you're going to have probably asbestos in there. Your tile is probably has like, and I can go through and identify a whole pile of things very fast.
So you gotta have a
Um,
really good memory and a very smart mind, and you gotta be with it at all
well,
times.
it helps. You got to know your subject matter, right?
Yeah.
So that would be one. If the technical school has a high performance or there's different names, high performance, passive house. Generally, high performance is a general industry term for any high level construction technique program. Sit in on it, right? You'd be amazed the things you learn. The Passive House one taught me a lot. Sitting in on the high performance ones taught me a lot. But there's also going to be architectural and building design, drafting courses, and everything else. Um, those are also going to be good. And in some cases, for some architecture programs, having that initial um, architectural and
Intro to
buildings.
that will help
Yeah,
you. If
yeah. Well,
you
it
ease yourself into it, you'll be able to draw things a little bit better and quicker. Like
well it
maybe
also
learn
shave a
AutoCAD
year
and
or
stuff.
two off your courses.
Yeah.
There's I know of one program, I believe it's 2 years that it cuts off of your 4 year degree. If you went and took that course first, if you take it second, it only shaves 1 year off.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you end up doing 5 years of schooling instead of four.
You gotta do a little bit of thinking. And
Yeah,
like even if one of my first episodes on this actually the show,
yeah.
I did about mentors. So you definitely gotta get a mentor for that kind of stuff. To like
Ex
a person such as yourself say, hey, this is what you do. If you get somebody in the industry or something like that, it'd be
Yeah,
extremely valuable, right? And I think that's an important
it's
thing.
true.
But I
I've
mean,
done a little bit of that.
how many people know an architect or a designer? Not too many. I mean,
Well,
not easy
building
to find.
designers, yeah. The funny thing is they're not well known. There's like th well, qualified ones, I'd say there's equal number of building designers as there are architects, probably more than there are architects out there, but most people don't know, right? And the other thing is you got to know an architect in is only allowed to call themselves an architect if they're certified.
Yeah.
If they were an architect from another country and they came here and they are not certified,
They take schooling again and do it all over again.
yep, and they have to go through the whole internship again and everything else. Um, and unless they're for example from California, you can transfer your license over because they're considered equivalent, and the same thing in the UK. The UK architects now, and this is only in the last year,
Mm.
have a reciprocal agreement that you can transfer over here from England because their education is considered to be equivalent to ours.
No, that's good.
But that being said,
We're all the way in the U.S. Is it just California? Or is it all the way in the U.S.?
I
Or
believe it's just California at the moment. So
interesting.
yeah, because my understanding is in the US, every state has a different educational set and a different certification process. So from what my understanding, and I may be wrong, so please understand that, but from what I've heard from architects I know is that not every state is equivalent in their training and everything else. So I believe
Yeah.
only California has the reciprocal, but I could be wrong.
Mhm.
It's not something I've ever bothered to look up because
Yeah.
I
You
haven't
wouldn't
gone.
want to.
I'm not an
You've
architect in
done
the
your
state.
school.
Yeah, well, I'm not an architect in the
For
state.
now. For now.
I, yeah, well, I've done
You
building.
never really get done getting educated really, especially when you're doing what you're doing, because
Yeah,
designs always change. You got to make sure you're up with
yeah,
new techniques, stuff like that. I mean, that's the thing about me. I just stopped taking courses after quality. Like I got my degree, I just stopped taking courses.
yeah.
It
Well, I mean,
was pretty
it's all
cool.
perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like there's always I've always wanted to do, and I'm not saying anything about you, I'm just talking about me. But I've always wanted to do better, right? And do
Mm.
more. And I'm intrigued by things. I'm constantly trying to pick up new skills, not and like what anything like building up painting and sculpting skills, computer animation, which I haven't touched in a very long time, and I'm not going to try and go back to it.
Actually, you know
Uh,
what? Maya still looks the same.
oh, really?
It
Okay.
does actually. I had I went to school about 11 or 12 years ago at Van Arts, and I
Oh,
still have
yeah.
the disc for like an actual legit student copy that still worked up to about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
like it still worked. I'm like, cool. So
Okay. Fair enough.
you know what? It's changed. It looks a little different, but it's basically the same program. You
Okay.
do all the same things pretty much. There's added stuff.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
It's just like the alt shift stuff. It still happens.
Yeah.
And I really want to get back into it just for fun. I have to
Yeah.
get an older computer though with an older version of Windows so I can use it. Because I finally
That's
stopped being able to
hilarious.
use it. I'm like, man, I got Windows 11. I can't use it anymore. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like
Or you
really
just take a
depressed after hearing
course.
that.
Just take a course and get a student license for another year. But hey, it
For
works.
another 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I
can
was
do
thinking
one.
of doing that. Actually, you know what? I was thinking about doing that, Nicholas.
Yeah,
Swear to God,
it's a
no, I'm
thought.
not kidding. But I just want to do it for fun because just in case I need to make the animation for my show, I might spruce up my show by doing graphics or something like that. And I have
Yeah.
like if you go on my show, it says the Fof, THE and then FOF. I
Yeah.
did that. I
Nice.
made that
Okay.
in Maya. So before I got Windows 11, so or 12 or
Okay.
whatever maybe.
Yeah. Well, fair enough.
Interesting.
But yeah, there's always new skills. It's always good to be interested. Like I'm like looking at like I learn about landscape design. I learn about this. Technically, landscape design is technically part of building design. And in
Yeah.
fact, that is one of the neat things about building design because
Yeah.
I got to design the site that it goes on, but
Yeah.
I don't have to do something fancy. Fancy usually goes to a landscape designer or a landscape architect, right? But I know enough that I can do some fun
Put
things.
some put some cards in there with some ferns or something or whatever, maybe
Well,
the
no,
mulch.
I mean, yeah, there's that. You land, I mean,
Making sure that every you
landscape.
could see, making sure you can see around everywhere from
Well,
a 3 foot
there,
higher or higher. Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely that. I've had ponds, I've had just neat plantings. One project. The city actually had a stipulation is that they wanted certain trees and certain flowers
Yeah, I
in
got you.
there because they wanted to attract certain birds and so those plants would attract the insects
So
that the
accomplished.
birds ate. Yeah, so and I had to make it all neat and
That's
pretty.
hilarious, man.
Oh yeah,
That's great.
you'd be
Hey, people
surprised the
want it
things.
though. You gotta deliver.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
yep.
What's
All
up?
right. So here's the big question. What would you tell your 18-year-old self if you got a chance to talk to him and say, hey, listen, blah, blah. What would you say, honestly?
Ugh,
Or would you say nothing?
no, no. Well, there's dozens of things I'd probably say.
Okay.
I've thought about that a lot actually over the years. Oddly enough, that is definitely come up. Um, in one sense, I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't taken all the different directions that I'd taken. Um, but I don't know. I wouldn't have. So the funny thing is, as I mentioned to you once before, originally I wanted to be an astrophysicist, right? I had actually had a scholarship set up and everything. But my family was against that. Long story. Um, and I would have loved to have explored that. On the other hand, turns out with the way the way politics went and everything else, space wasn't prioritized. So maybe it would have been a waste to put my skills into that. Um, Originally, the very first thing I wanted to be, though, when I was in God, I was 9 years old, was I wanted to be an architect, right? So,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
I definitely would have pursued that. And I would have probably told myself to like not give up on the things you love, right? And go do that. But I would also have told myself, don't pick a career until you've sampled enough choices because
Mhm.
the only way I got to where I am now is by having taken such a wide array of courses and learned so many things about so many different disciplines,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
I've although I'm out of date in a lot of senses, I studied a lot of cultures. I studied a lot of religions, a lot of the world, and a lot of different like electrical techniques, computer programming. I've studied so much just for the fun of it, um, and
Hmm.
I would strongly recommend to myself that I do the same thing. Go take a smattering of courses you're interested in, see which ones you're actually good at and you actually love, and then go into that direction. Do something you love, not something
Yep.
that is.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah.
side note to that,
Go ahead.
do make sure that there's a good paycheck involved because the amount of people that I've like, oh, I'm going to go study. Um, I don't want to. I don't.
Botany, maybe. Botany, you
Well,
think?
no, no. I mean, there's good careers in that too, but I mean, there's like, there's so many that are like I don't want to give any names because there are always things you can do. Like, for example, becoming an archivist is an amazing career, right? That you can get into. And whether you become a librarian or you become an archivist or you shoot off in all these different directions from it. But
But
make
writing
sure,
skills are very important, and that's one of the things that
yep.
would help you is writing skills. That's an essential thing they want to teach you at first. But sorry about that, Nicholas. Go ahead.
No, no, that's okay. But what I'm just getting at is just make sure that there is a career path out of what you want to do. Like there are people working in the field because for example, computer animation, right? When I took that program, um, I was working in the industry as an assistant technical director, and then the company I was working for went under. So I went back to school to get my official certifications and everything. And everybody was like, "Well, we're pivoting away from 2D animation. Everybody's going into computer 3D animation. Current pay is 75,000 a year to start." Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. Well, sure. That lines up with where I was before. This will work. I'll go there. In the time I between when I started that program and when I graduated, the the average salary dropped from 75,000 to 25,000, right? So,
I guess they got a lot of part timers and just
yep.
contract workers, right?
Yeah, they were paying minimum wage, and because they graduated so many students in 3D animation in that 2-year period,
Yeah,
that there was a whole glut in the market. They went from 200 animators in the industry to 2,000 animators in
yeah.
the industry. And all of a sudden they didn't have to pay top dollar except for the to the very best. And I've met some of those people, right? Like I've um people who ran the Lord of the Rings animation, like
Yeah.
all of the special effects for that, or Avatar or so on. They get
Yeah.
paid very well. The higher level, but not
It's big,
necessarily.
it's like being a lawyer. Some people get a whole lot of money. The other people kind of just skeet by and just doing
Yep,
not necessarily pro bono, but just lesser things like that, like
yep,
small claims court or whatever it may be. But there's a lot of that, right? And so you can't always make the money, so you might as well enjoy what you're doing.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's just a major thing is make sure you love what you're doing. Make sure that there's enough money in it that you can actually make a living and you can
Mhm.
survive, right? But make sure it's something you love doing and that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And if you don't find you're passionate about anything, well, at least do something you're interested in, right? If you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Uh, but I'm sure there's something you can find that you'll be passionate about and you'll love doing. That would be
Pretty
my
much,
my key suggestion to
and
myself.
yeah, and that's why when you go to KPU or SFU or UBC or whatever, they get you do some depth requirement courses, take some sociology, take some psychology,
Yeah,
take some fine arts courses, which I did,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
and one of the courses I really liked, but I had to drop out because I wasn't studying very much, was art history, the
yeah,
pre-Renaissance. And it was a really good course. In fact, I love the book because it
yeah,
has pictures, right? I like pictures in books, but
yeah,
it
no,
was there's a lot of breadth requirements for that,
yeah,
and there's a lot of cool stuff out there that people go realize, hey, you know what? And when I took my first psychology course, I thought I'm gonna maybe become an HR or something like that, whatever it was. I
yeah.
don't care.
HR is a
But I
good one.
really got interested in it, and it kind of stuck. Like, this is really interesting. I didn't want to become a psychologist or anything. I was thinking about that at one point, but
Hmm.
I was thinking it's very important to take those courses that you didn't know you liked
Yep.
until you
Again, I
take
get
them,
that.
and that's why they want you to get some. That's why they want you to take some computer courses. I had to take a computer course, and I did really well. They had like
Yep.
um, one of the top grades in the class. I was like 191%, and somebody else had 90. So like, hey, they're creeping up on me. I'm like, no way, I'm gonna
Yeah.
stay here.
Actually, one other thing I want to mention while I'm remembering, um, don't let your past limit your future. And the reason I'm going to say that is in my own personal case, I had my French teachers in elementary, specifically primarily in elementary, but then a bit in junior high as well,
Mhm.
were brutal. And I don't know, um, my tongue is a little bit too wide to form the pronunciations the way the French teachers like. So I just assumed I was horrible at French and horrible at languages, and I can't do that. And I've seen so many people, oh, I'm bad with computers. I can't do this, or I don't let yourself be limited by that. You'd be surprised what you can do and how things change. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no problem. In elementary school, I did horrible. Absolutely horrible. The only time I got an A was in gym, which I was
Fair enough.
passionate about. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
But I got
no,
an
I
A,
can
and my
understand
brother's
that.
like, hey, he gave me something like a trading card or something. Like, gave me said,
Yep.
Jamie, good job. Uh, but then I realized, if I spent too much think about the past, how I was a bad student,
Yeah.
I'm not going to get better. And I got better in the high school, but by the end of high school, I was like getting A's and B's and one C plus in French. French
Yeah.
isn't easy, but I pronounce it pretty good.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
fair.
took it all the way to grade 12, and I really wanted to go to college when I was younger, and I was
Yep.
ticked off because I was going to be in the remedial math, but I got out of that, and then I took math 12 after high school and got a C, which I
Yeah,
was kind of like mentally not there yet.
yeah,
I
I can
probably
understand
could
that.
have done better today if I were to just take Math 10, 11 before and did it all. I probably
Yeah,
would have done better. I didn't even study for the core sec. I didn't even study for the exam.
yeah,
Barely. I
yeah,
just
yeah,
couldn't do it because I was mentally wasn't there.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So what else would you tell yourself? Is there anything else you would tell your 18-year-old self or anybody? Or is it
Uh,
anything
bes
you want? It's all good, buddy. You have
besides
plenty of
not
time,
letting
right?
people keep you down, make sure get a little bit of life experience, like I was saying. Do
That's what
it.
I got. I
Yeah,
got some
like
of that.
yeah, take a year or two, figure things out, figure out what you want to do, figure out what you're interested in. Don't make sure that you're actually exploring the things that you're interested in. And you can do it with courses, you can do it by traveling, you can do it whatever way you want to do it, whether it's working in the industry or not. But um, make sure that after no more than a couple of years, you've figured out what, like, yeah, I want to go in this direction. I like what I'm doing. I like all the different things I've
Mhm.
explored.
Yeah.
I'm good at this and I like it. And then just go whole hog into it. Just make
Yeah.
sure that you're running with it and
Mhm.
you're exploring it. My wife is taking landscape architecture right now,
Good for her.
and loving it, and realizing she's actually fantastic at it, and it relates to what she does right now. And yet, in everybody would say, well, it doesn't relate to it at all. And then but you stop and you look at the bigger picture of what she does and it
Yes.
completely relates to it. So
Yeah,
it's interesting, right? So just make sure you find something you're passionate about and you enjoy, even if you
absolutely.
just take one course in
I'm
like 10
passionate
different
about this
topics.
particular show. That's why I do so well in it. I think I don't got a lot of viewers, but I learned how to edit. I learned how to do everything.
Yeah,
I'm the producer, I'm the director, I'm everything except you're the interviewee. But
yeah,
and I make sure that the person who's I'm interviewing gets his say and her say, and also engages with what I'm going to ask them. That I think is very important, and I'm very passionate about that. Am I going to get a show one day? Who knows?
yeah.
But you know what? I'm putting out my own stuff. I'm editing. I'm making the music for it. So, I
That's
like doing
pretty
that
cool.
stuff. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's However, if you're to edit out ums and ahs all the time, like my buddy did that a lot because it doesn't
yep,
understand English. Oh my God, it took me about 10 hours to erase all that stuff out of there. And I actually put it off for about a half year to three-quarters of a year just because I knew that it was going to be
yep,
difficult.
yep.
But I got it done. So,
Nice. Well, congratulations.
all right, Nicholas. Well, thank you very much for being on my show. I appreciate that. I'm
You're
pretty
welcome,
sure
Jim.
people who are wanting to design homes might want to be interested in this. So,
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Thanks, buddy.
you're welcome. Take good care.
If you like the Fof Guide videos, we got a lot more in store for you. Hit the notifications bell so that you know that we got them coming out. Hit like, hit subscribe. Always leave a comment. Whether it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down, let us know.